Ever notice how some people are always prioritized, invited first, listened to most, trusted without question? It's not luck, it's not charm, it's psychology. And the ancient Stoics mastered it. If you want people to take you seriously, respect you instantly, and give you priority in every room, you need to apply these 15 silent psychological strategies. Once you do, they won't just notice you, they'll remember you. Welcome to 15 Powerful Psychological Strategies from Stoicism, a guide to commanding respect without saying a word. The Stoics didn't teach you to chase attention, they taught you how to become someone others naturally prioritized. This isn't about tricks or fake confidence. This is about mastering presence, restraint, and influence at the deepest level. Apply these, and you'll stop waiting to be chosen and start being preferred. As a kind of person, we all notice someone who walks into a room and immediately gets attention. Someone who's prioritized in meetings, remembered in conversations, and instinctively trusted in moments of decision. They don't beg for status, they don't demand authority, and they never have to raise their voice. But when they speak, people listen. When they act, people follow. Why? Because they have mastered something deeper than charisma or charm. They have mastered psychological strategy rooted in ancient Stoic principles. The Stoics weren't just philosophers lost in thought, they were masters of the human mind. They understood influence, resilience, respect, and the subtle dynamics of power. What they taught wasn't about domination or manipulation, but about how to cultivate the kind of presence that naturally earns trust, commands priority, and elevates your standing not by force, but by virtue. And that's exactly what we're diving into. Let's begin with the first set of 15 psychological strategies inspired by Stoicism that will make people prioritize you not because you asked, but because your presence, your principles, and your psychology leave them no other choice. 1. Withdraw from the drama, instantly gain power. Most people get caught up in noise, gossip, petty arguments, emotional overreactions, but the Stoic removes himself. Epictetus advised, avoid fraternizing with people who will only influence you to indulge in destructive habits. In the psychological realm, detachment is magnetic. When others see that you're not easily swayed, triggered, or provoked, they begin to respect your composure. And in a world of emotional chaos, the composed person becomes a lighthouse, noticed, trusted, and prioritized. 2. Control the first 5 seconds. The Stoics taught that everything begins in the mind, and one of the most critical mental disciplines is mastering your initial reaction. When you enter a room, approach a person, or respond to a situation, those first 5 seconds shape everything. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Walk in upright, make eye contact, speak slowly, breathe deeply." That opening presence determines whether you'll be treated as an afterthought or as someone who matters. 3. Speak in low tones, say few words. Loud people get ignored. Quiet people who speak with intent get listened to. The Stoic doesn't shout. He doesn't fill silence with noise. Instead, he pauses, thinks, then speaks. This restraint signals self-control and maturity, qualities people subconsciously associate with leadership. The next time you enter a conversation, lower your tone, reduce your words, and observe what happens. Others begin to lean in. You earn their attention, not with volume but with weight. For be unbothered by status. Most people chase high-status individuals, hoping to be seen, noticed, or accepted. The Stoic reverses that energy. He treats everyone with dignity but doesn't pedestal anyone. Why? Because he is grounded in his own worth. Seneca wrote, "The man who is not puffed up in prosperity, who does not collapse in adversity, is a man of true greatness." When you don't try to impress others, others begin to be impressed by you. That emotional independence makes people prioritize you, not the other way around. 5. Respond last. Speak with authority. There's a psychological tactic used by some of the most influential leaders. They let others speak first. Why? Because while others are rushing to be heard, the wise are watching, calculating, listening. The Stoic understands the room before entering the conversation. Then, when he finally speaks, it's deliberate, precise, and commanding. This slow control of tempo conveys quiet dominance, and in every social or professional group, the one who controls the tempo controls the room. 6. Make people feel seen without needing to be seen. True influence isn't in being noticed, it's in noticing others. Stoics were deeply empathetic, though not emotional. They paid attention, eye contact, remembered details, calm presence. In today's attention deficit world, giving someone your full presence is so rare that it feels like a gift. and people always prioritize those who make them feel understood, because they become emotionally attached to that safety. The Stoic gives attention, not for manipulation, but for connection, and connection builds influence. 7. Know what you stand for and let it show. The Stoic doesn't shift his identity based on the room he's in. He is not a chameleon. He's an oak tree rooted. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily of his principles: justice, courage, discipline, wisdom. And when you live by unshakable principles, people begin to notice. You become consistent, predictable, stable, and in a world full of flakes and masks, stability is rare and rare things are prioritized. People begin to seek your perspective, not because you shout, but because they know where you stand. 8. Master the power of no. You can't be valued if you're always available. You can't be prioritized if you say yes to everything. The Stoic practices the art of refusal not from ego, but from clarity. He knows what matters, and he protects it. Seneca said, "He who is everywhere is nowhere." Learn to say no without guilt. No to useless conversations. No to meaningless meetings. No to people who drain your energy. Every no you speak out of principle increases your value in the eyes of others. Why? Because people respect those who respect their own time. 9. Maintain mystery. Review slowly. The Stoic is not a walking diary. He doesn't overshare. He doesn't tell everyone his plans, his fears, his dreams. He reveals in layers. This creates intrigue. Intrigue builds interest, and interest leads to priority. The psychological principle is simple. People value what they don't fully understand. If you share everything immediately, you become emotionally cheap. But if you carry yourself with quiet depth, sharing only what's necessary, and only when earned, people will lean in. They'll want to know more. They'll value every word. 10. Move with purpose. From the way you walk, to the way you work, to the way you sit, move with deliberation. No fidgeting, no rushing, no unnecessary gestures. The Stoics' movements are calm, efficient, intentional. Why? Because this outer control reflects inner control. When others see you acting without hesitation, but also without hurry, they subconsciously perceive authority, and authority is always prioritized. In a world saturated with noise, desperation, and self-promotion, the Stoic path offers something radically different: magnetism through mastery. You don't shout to be heard, you speak with silence. You don't chase value, become it. These psychological strategies aren't tactics to manipulate, they're disciplines to embody. They change how you carry yourself, how you think, and how others experience you. When you begin to live like this, calm-rooted, restrained, others will take notice. They will prioritize you in conversations, in opportunities, and in trust, not because you demanded it, but because you earned it. The next part will reveal the final 5 Stoic strategies that seal this transformation, taking your quiet power and turning it into something unforgettable. To be prioritized by others, not through manipulation, but through presence, is a rare kind of power. It cannot be bought, demanded, or faked. It must be earned through the quiet, disciplined practice of how you show up in the world. The Stoics understood this better than anyone. Their wisdom wasn't loud, but it was deeply effective. When you embody their mindset, people don't just listen to you, they rearrange their behavior around you, and they don't even realize they're doing it. In part 1, we explored how to gain attention, respect, and trust using Stoic psychology through restraint, mystery, timing, and clarity of values. Now in part 2, we'll complete the transformation with 5 more powerful strategies that shift the way people perceive you. These final ideas are subtle, but they rewire how others interact with you. If mastered, they make you a person of priorities, someone who doesn't wait in line but is invited to the front without ever asking. 11. Be comfortable with silence. Most people hate silence, it makes them nervous. They feel pressure to fill the space, to prove something, to keep talking. But the Stoic, he is at peace in silence. Why? Because he is comfortable with himself. He doesn't need to entertain or be entertained. This creates a fascinating shift in group dynamics. Silence, when held calmly, creates gravity. Others begin to lean into you. They start talking more to fill your silence. They try to earn your response. That's influence, that's power. And that's how you begin to control conversations, not by dominating them, but by mastering your own need to speak. 12. Display unshakable emotional control. A person who cannot control their emotions is treated like a child, even if they're talented or intelligent. But the one who can remain calm when criticized, patient when ignored, and stable in uncertainty becomes a psychological anchor for others. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." That truth, when lived, is magnetic. People instinctively defer to those who remain calm under pressure, because calmness signals control and control signals safety. In meetings, relationships, and leadership, the emotionally stable person always rises to the top. Why? Because they become the foundation everyone else leans on. 13. Show micro-confidence through posture and stillness. You don't need to shout confidence. In fact, real confidence is shown through what you don't do. Fidgeting, rushing, unnecessary hand gestures, and constant checking of phones all signal insecurity. The Stoic trains the body to reflect the mind calm, balanced, focused. Your posture speaks before you do. Sit upright, stand firmly, keep your shoulders back, move slowly and with intention. These are micro-signals of confidence that others read instantly, even if subconsciously. The one who controls his body is assumed to control his environment. That perception elevates you. You become someone others prioritize, because your presence settles them. 14. Disarm others with sincere curiosity. While most people try to impress, the Stoic seeks to understand. This flips the script entirely. When you're not trying to prove yourself, you become free to observe, listen, and ask better questions. And here's the secret. People love being asked sincere questions about themselves. It makes them feel seen, valued, respected. By simply being curious about someone's perspective, ideas, or experience, you build rapport fast. But you also flip the power dynamic. Instead of chasing validation, you become the validator. And that makes people prioritize you not for who you are, but for how you make them feel about themselves in your presence. 15. Be rare by being rooted in purpose. The final and most powerful strategy is this. Have a clear inner mission. Most people drift. They're reactive. They chase whatever comes next. But the Stoic wakes up with intention. He knows what he's building, what he's becoming. He doesn't need external motivation because he's fueled by internal vision. And this purpose is felt by others. When someone is deeply connected to their values, to their goals, to something greater than themselves, they stand out. Their time feels sacred. Their words carry weight. Their presence has meaning. And people instinctively prioritize what feels rare, what feels real, what feels aligned. So now imagine someone who lives like this. They walk into a room without saying a word, and yet people notice. They speak rarely, but when they do, people lean in. They don't fidget, over-explain, or chase validation. Instead, they listen more than they talk. They act with intention. They move with purpose. They say no clearly. They don't play status games, but are always treated like they belong at the top. That is what Stoicism gives you. Not popularity, but priority. Not fake power, but earned presence. Not manipulation, but authentic influence. And the best part, these aren't tricks. They're not tactics for social climbing. They're principles, disciplines you build from the inside out. And once they're part of you, no one can take them away. Not your boss, not a crowd, not the world. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one, so be calm in chaos. Be rooted in purpose. Be valuable without needing to prove it. Because when you apply these psychological strategies with Stoic strength, they will give you priority, always. In a world obsessed with noise, being silent but strategic as power, when you embody these Stoic strategies, you stop asking for permission and start receiving priority, not through arrogance, but through authenticity. Not because you're loud, but because your presence speaks for you. If you found value in this video, hit like, subscribe for more Stoic wisdom, and share this with someone who needs to stop chasing attention and start commanding it. Remember, you don't rise by force, you rise by mastering yourself.